You're listening to The Gary Harris Show on Tide 100.9 in Tuscaloosa.
TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news, sports, and weather coverage all throughout the day. It's absolutely free. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
The Gary Harris Show. UCM host Tider Insider TV. Crimson Tide Kickoff. Play-by-play for Alabama sports and sports director for WVUA 23. It's time for The Gary Harris Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
All right, let's do this. The Gary Harris Show for this Thursday, June 20, 2024. I'm your host, Gary Harris. Justin Jones right there on the other side of the glass, manning the controls, taking your phone calls on the Pinnacle Park at North River Hotline at 205-342-9904. Find out more about beautiful Pinnacle Park by going to the website, pinnacleparknr.com. Luxury townhomes, gated community near beautiful Lake Tuscaloosa. That's pinnacleparknr.com. The phone number, again, 205-342-9904. We got a good show on tap for you today. Got some great sound that Stu McCann and Alex Booth were able to get for me at WVUA 23 last night at that barnstorming softball game over at Rickwood Field. They interviewed probably 10 or 12 people, former major leaguers, NFL stars, but we're going to focus on guys with Bama connections. So we're going to have interviews with you for you this morning with Jalen Milroe, Najee Harris, and Colin Sexton. How about that? So looking forward to that. It was what we call a group session where the reporters, interviewed the guys out on the field, several reporters at a time, but some really good stuff there that we're going to have for you. Plus at 10:30, Jeff Spiegel's on vacation this week, so Johnny Congdon from ABC 3340 is going to pinch hit for Jeff Spiegel. Always enjoy visiting with JC, and we'll talk to him about a lot of stuff, including, of course, all the stuff at Rickwood this week and his beloved Boston Celtics winning their 18th NBA championship. So he's coming up at 10:30. But a lot of those good interviews. As I said, your phone calls are welcome as well, and we'll get rolling here in just a moment. This hour of the Gary Harris Show, though, brought to you by Alabama Credit Union. Member-owned and not-for-profit, Alabama Credit Union has been with me for a long time, and I am so thrilled to be associated with them and also be a member of the credit union. You can become a member, too, and find out more at alabamacu.com and find out all about the ACU Lifestyle Account. Convenience and savings make life better, that's for sure. Learn more now at alabamacu.com. That's alabamacu.com. Alabama Credit Union, a proud sponsor of Secret Meals for Hungry Children. Loans for real life at Alabama Credit Union. Some rules and restrictions do apply. See if you're eligible for membership, then join today and feel good about your money and put a little extra change in your pocket. All right, I told you, just one guest today with Johnny Congdon at 10:30. We are going to be getting to some of that cool audio from Najee Harris, who loves to talk. Now, I'll tell you one thing about Najee. He had a great soundbite yesterday. Before we play the sound, I'll go ahead and he was asked about, Alex put this out on Twitter, but he was asked about Coach Saban and if he is enjoying himself more now that he's retired. And former Alabama running back and current Pittsburgh Steeler Najee Harris was asked if Nick Saban is happier now, a happier man than when he's retired, and his quote was, "Hell yeah, he is." So it seems from his former players right on through his family to people that know him here in town that I think that Coach Saban always worried when you'd hear him interviewed, he always worried about what he would do when he retired. You always heard him say, other people look about what they're going to get to do, what they can do when they retire, and I'm just the opposite. I'm like, what will I do? And but I think it's been proven so far that he's got plenty to do. And of course, he'll have a full-time gig in the fall with ESPN Game Day. So, Justin, when you look at Nick Saban, who is football, I do think that this shows that he probably is more well-rounded than what we gave him credit for. And you could see bits and pieces of that even when he was coaching. He wasn't off often, but, we know he loves music. We know he loves the Stones. He loves the Eagles, concerts. He had the Lake House on Lake Burton. I don't even know if he has that anymore, but I know he has the place down in Florida and, gets out on the water, loves to drive the boat. is probably more well-rounded than what it appeared, because when he was coaching football, he was focused on football. But it's obvious he had other interests, and now that he's retired, he loves to play golf. We know that, and I guarantee you he's already a pretty good golfer. But I bet right now, as much as he's getting to play, you probably wouldn't want to get him in a game. You'd probably have to, lighten your pocketbook a little bit if you played him in a friendly golf match. So he seems to have made the transition from lifetime football coach to retired, semi-retired anyways, not fully retired, seamlessly. I mean, he seems like he's doing great.
Yeah, like you mentioned, Gary, he was at the Rolling Stones concert in Atlanta, I think a week or 2 weeks ago. And I don't know, do you think Coach plays a couple bucks a hole when you play with him?
I imagine that, again, I've never played golf with him, but I do think it's probably a friendly wager on the board. The kind of competitor that he is, I think that probably adds to the enjoyment, and keeps the one thing about a little friendly wager. It keeps people connected in the game. Even if you're having a bad day, you don't just mail it in because you're like, well, heck, man, I've played 6 bad holes, but I got 12 good holes ahead that maybe I can get a little something back. So, I imagine that there's a little something, post round on the line when he plays golf. But, I'm impressed with the way this has gone for him, because I didn't know either. I said, for the record, during the season last year that I thought he was going to coach 3 or 4, maybe even 5 more years. I just did not see. But the way the game changed, I don't think he was enjoying it the same way that he had enjoyed it in the past. And I do think that, even though, again, let's not, there's already seems to be some revisionist history going on. When I hear people say, the culture is better than it's been in years. Listen, last year, Alabama won the SEC championship, came within an overtime, made the college football playoff, and came within an overtime of playing for the national championship. If Kalen DeBoer can match that in his first year, we're going to be celebrating. Let's not sit here and already do the, it's so much better now than it was before. He's the best to ever do it. And it's not going to be better. You can hope maybe that it's as good and that Alabama continues that success. But I do think that the way the game had evolved, I think it was harder for him, being the kind of coach that he is, the organizational guy that he is, everything in place, and then all of a sudden, you got to do it differently. You're not just talking about preparing guys for life, after football and helping them get to the NFL and helping set them up. You're having to say, hey, this is what we can give you now, to come play at Alabama, we can give you this. And I don't think he was, a fan of that. So he went ahead and stepped down. But I tell you what, timing seems to be everything in life. And now that he has retired from Alabama as the head football coach, it looks like it was perfect timing. Again, he goes out with an SEC championship. He goes out with a college football playoff berth. And you get a guy in Kalen DeBoer, who is a proven coach, who I was on another show this morning earlier up in Memphis, and I was asked that question about what are things like now versus Nick Saban. And I said the same thing I just said here. I said, well, first of all, Nick Saban, the last year Nick Saban was a dream year for most programs. Most programs it would be a dream year in this conference if you won the SEC championship, went to the college football playoff, even though they lost in overtime in the semifinal against the eventual national champion, it would have been a dream year. So he went out on top, in my opinion. Having said that, they brought a guy in who's a proven commodity and is not from the Nick Saban tree, and I think that's so important. The only problem is if you'd hired somebody who had coached under Nick Saban, and especially if they'd coached under Nick Saban here at Alabama, they would know how things were done under Nick Saban here at Alabama. And no matter how good a coach that they are, I think there would have been some feeling that I need to do it like Nick Saban did it. And you're not Nick Saban, and you're never going to be. So you come in and you try to be Nick Saban, I think that's a recipe for disaster. Kalen DeBoer is Kalen DeBoer. Kalen DeBoer has a system. Kalen DeBoer is doing his system. He is not trying to fit in to what he thinks Alabama people want him to be. He's not trying to carry on what Nick Saban did. And I do think this. I do think that in the modern game of football, the way it is right now, that Kalen DeBoer is probably more comfortable. This is my opinion. Is probably more comfortable, Justin, in this era than Nick Saban was. I do think that, in my opinion, is a truthful statement that DeBoer, is more comfortable coaching in this environment than Nick Saban was. So it just seems like it couldn't have gone any better. Now, here's the reality check, right? Is that right now everybody's warm and fuzzy. I'm hearing things like, there hasn't been this much excitement and enthusiasm around the program in years, and the culture's great, and everybody's having fun, and everybody's playing music, and, internet celebrities, Funny Main and Roll Tide Willie are out at practice. All that's great until you look up in mid-October and you got a couple losses. And then reality check. If that happens, all this warm, good, fuzzy feelings are going to be out the window. And I'm not trying to be harsh. I'm just trying to be truthful. You don't come out and you get the results on the field, then what people are going to be saying? Well, we're out there blaring that music at practice. Out there, had them clowns from the internet out there at practice. What'd that get you? So it's all good as long as the results are there. So, everybody that's running around right now, kumbaya, and everything's perfect, and maybe it is. But the results are what's going to count at the end of the day. And if you're sitting up here and you beat Georgia and you're 4-0, and then people are going to be like, "Yep, I told you, man, everything's awesome." But if you look up and you lose to Georgia and then you lose to Tennessee, it's going to be just the opposite. The reaction the fans are going to have, all that warm, fuzzy feeling is going to be out the window. I'm just telling you. And people can say all they want right now about, well, we're going to have some patience. No, you're not. You're not going to have any patience. Not from when your program just won the SEC championship and was in the college football playoff. There's not going to be any patience. If Alabama's 8-4, in Kalen DeBoer's first season, it's going to be rough around here. I'm just going to tell you. I've seen it firsthand. I'm not speaking blindly here. You can say what you want to right now. Well, we'll give him a year or two. I'm telling you right now, 3 or 4 losses in this first year, and it is going to be a tough environment. So it's all good right now. I am very impressed with what I've seen from Kalen DeBoer. Incredibly impressed with how this transition has gone down. I think Alabama is going to have a really good team, and it is my hope that they're going to win those first 3 against Western Kentucky, South Florida, Wisconsin, get to that bye, and come back and beat the Georgia Bulldogs. And if that happens and they get to 4-0 with a win over Georgia, it is going to be rolling. It's going to be really, really, really good. So that's why, we're going to enjoy these last couple of months before the season starts. But I am already a little bit fascinated by the stuff I'm hearing from some people, Justin, about, man, I haven't seen this much excitement surrounding Alabama. Oh, the culture. Come on, man. I've even heard, I even heard Ryan Fowler on the game. I was listening to one of his interviews on podcast, and he was talking about how Saban only won 1 national championship his last 6 seasons. This wasn't the same Alabama the last few years under Nick Saban that it was the first few years. I heard Ryan Fowler say that. Kind of blew me away a little bit. So that's where we're at now. You only won 1 national championship your final 6 seasons, which is true. He only won 1 the last 6 seasons, but what did he win in that same time? I think he won 3 or 4 SECs, went to several playoffs in that time frame that he only won 1, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. He only won it in 20, but in 18 they played for it. In 20 they won it. In 22 they played for it. In 23 they won the SEC and made the playoffs. So it didn't drop off much. So the standard here is set. Nick Saban set it. And as I said, you get into the season, you're talking about a guy who, when he lost 3 years in a season, it was considered disappointing back in 2010. You have a coach here now. If you got 3 losses in November, It'll be hard to handle. All right, we need to get to the break. As I said, this hour brought to you by Alabama Credit Union. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back. Tom's on hold. He's going to lead us off. We're wide open in this first hour. We are going to get to some of that great sound from Najee Harris, Jalen Milroe, and 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Visit PattersonComerLawFirm.com.
No representations made that legal services provided by Patterson Comer is greater than any other legal services performed by any other lawyer.
Life doesn't wait for when your finances are in perfect order. It just happens. But no matter what surprises come your way, Alabama Credit Union will be here to help make it affordable with great personal loans, mortgages, and auto loans. They offer an easy application process and fast decisions so you can stay focused on feeling good about whatever life brings your way. Alabama Credit Union will be here to help make it affordable with great personal loans, mortgages.
Summer your way with 4th of July savings from the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Order select and stock items by 4 p.m. subject to availability.
As much as Innisfree has evolved, it will always be that place to escape and have a good time. Whether it's for a game day weekend, to reminisce on college days, or to create new memories, if you're looking for a good time, there's only one thing to do. Head to the Free at 1925 University Boulevard. And don't forget about the Lucky Lunch Meat and 3 special, Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. Get a meat and 3 vegetables for just $8.49. Or for a lighter appetite, try the Lucky Lunch soup, salad, or sandwich combo. I'll see you at the Free.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Well, today's the first day of summer. The solstice occurs at 3:50 p.m. this afternoon. More sunshine today, still dry, a little hotter. The afternoon high near 93. Tonight, partly cloudy skies, the overnight low near 70. And for your Friday, partly cloudy. It'll be heating up, but still dry. Humidity levels will be rising. Look for a high of 94. I'm meteorologist Bill Murray on Tide 100.9.
It's 83 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
You see him on WVUA 23 covering sports and on Tider Insider TV on Tuesday nights. Don't miss a minute of the Gary Harris Show. Weekdays from 9 to 11 on Tide 100.9.
9:20. Welcome back into the Gary Harris Show. Hey, the YMCA of Tuscaloosa, man, is as I always say, the Y is ready. When you're ready for the Y, all you have to do is go down there to 2300 13th Street. And I've been saying I'm going to get back in. I've talked about it here on the program. Last few weeks for sure. Prior to my mom passing, I wasn't going to the gym. Just wasn't a priority for me. But I'm ready to get back in there. And when I do get back to working out, it's going to be at the Y. Love the place. I absolutely love the facility. I love the people. I love the staff. It's just a great place to work out and a great community of people. That's the YMCA of Tuscaloosa, 2300 13th Street. Find out more at ymcatuscaloosa.org or give them a call and you can set up a tour, 205-345-9622. Let's jump out on the Pinnacle Park at North River Hotline and welcome in our pal Tom. Hey, Tom, good morning.
Good morning, Gary. How are you this morning?
Doing pretty well. Thought we had a kind of a lively first segment there to get things kicked off.
I thought, that's why I called. I said this morning, I said, I'm not calling today and bore everybody with my comments, but, you brought up some stuff there that I really want to comment on, and thanks for taking my call, by the way.
Sure.
It's 2 points in that opening monologue that you did, and the first one is revisionist of history. And that used to be for the national media and those kooks over there at AL.dumb and how they got a job writing sports is a mystery to me. But at any way, the revisionist part has spilled over into Alabama fans and some people in the local media. It spilled over to them. Now they've turned into monkey see, monkey do. And the comment that I'm referring to is, we had seen this much excitement around the program, and I don't know when. Wait a minute, fool. Was you here the first A-Day that Coach Saban? Was that some excitement to behold right there? The record set for all spring games? Is that excitement that drove that, or what? Would you answer that for me for the revisionist, for their sake?
Yeah, I think it's already started. You're right. I think that we haven't gotten to the first game yet, and I'm hearing people saying about again there's more excitement around the program than I've seen in years, and the culture and all of this. Let's be careful here. The way we dismiss Nick Saban and this final season that Nick Saban put together. I'll just say this: if Kalen DeBoer matches this year what Nick Saban did in his last season, I'm going to sit here and say it was a heck of a season. If you can win the Southeastern Conference, particularly now with Oklahoma and Texas coming in, and you're in, even though it's a 12-team playoff instead of a 4-team, but if you can win the playoff, get in the playoff, win the SEC, and I'm going to sit here and say, boy, what a great first year. So the last year for Nick Saban, as I said, most of the teams in this conference, if they had a year like Nick Saban had last year, it would have been one of they'd be celebrating it. It'd be posters and banners and prints and all that stuff. And, what he did last year to win the Southeastern Conference, to beat a Georgia team that had won 29 in a row, and hadn't lost since the last time Alabama beat them, to go in there. You remember this time, outside of a few people here, maybe they cover Alabama, there was nobody picking Alabama to win that game. I mean, every national pundit that I heard, some were saying, listen, this is going to be a blowout. Alabama can't play with Georgia. Alabama was lucky to win the Iron Bowl, had fluke play to win the Iron Bowl. And Alabama went in there and beat the Georgia Bulldogs, the mighty Georgia Bulldogs, to keep them from trying to win 3 in a row, which is great for Alabama to be able to do that. And then played a team that went 15-0 and really had the lead in that game until a couple minutes to go, and could have won it in regulation, and then lost in overtime down at the goal line. It was a heck of a season. So when I hear people say, well, it was time for a change, and I'm glad that, we got, this new coach in here and all that, I'm just be careful what you wish for, because, Nick Saban did it for 17 years and won 9 SEC championships and 6 national titles, and could have won more SECs and more national titles. So let's wait and see what happens during the season before we get too carried away. Now, as I said, I'm impressed with Kalen DeBoer. I'm impressed with this staff. Everybody. I'm impressed with how they're doing it. But I also understand the reality of results. And everybody that's running around now all goo-goo gaga about how great things are, if you look up in October and there's 2 or 3 losses on the board, they're not going to be talking about how great it is. And all these things right now that everybody's having fun with all the media stuff and the music at practice and internet celebrities and all this stuff. If you don't get the results in the fall, then you're going to hear just the opposite. Like I said, you're going to hear people complaining about, they shouldn't have been playing kickball. They should have been practicing football. And they shouldn't have been blaring music where they couldn't hear the coaches, and they shouldn't have had.
I got all that. I got that. We've said that a million times. Yeah. And look, here's the other thing. Now, Coach Saban, for all these people, all the excitement people, he closed out his career against the in-state rival with 5 victories in a row.
4, Tom, 4.
Gary, I'm a revisionist too. Now I get to revise.
Okay. Well,
but the other point I wanted to make that you brought out, Gary, I get all that history stuff. You ain't got to recite it to me. I got it. Okay?
All right. Well, what else you got then?
I think the point you made, and this is worthy of discussion, is that the right man at the right time is here at Alabama. Now, does that guarantee success? No. He's got work to do, and he's going to do it his way, as you brought out. That's a great point. And we're going to see if that system is one that will work at Alabama. Now, I am one that believes it will, but because of the modern era of football, I think he fits the modern era. You brought that point out.
Yeah, I did when he was first hired. I sure did. That's the same thing I said.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. And I agree with that, and I've thought about it since that statement was made early on. And but yet I'm a realist, as you pointed out. Let's see where we are at the end of October. And if we're 4-0 and we beat Georgia and Wisconsin and all like that, then we can start saying the excitement is here, right?
Yeah, I mean, the proof will be in the pudding. I mean, it really, really will. And, yeah, that's all that I'm saying is that all of this, and I agree with you, Tom. And I said Nick Saban was the right person at the right time when he was hired at Alabama, and I think Kalen DeBoer is the right person at the right time. So I'm expecting really, really good results. But I do get a little bit bugged when I start hearing things like, well, Alabama kind of was going down. Excuse me? No, I agree. I get it. They didn't win a national championship since 2020, but they played for one in 21. They won the SEC in 21. They won it in 23. They were in the playoff both years. And in 22, yes, they lost a couple of games. Heartbreakers on the road on the final play of the game at Tennessee and at LSU, or they might have won it that year. Now, they didn't. They lost those two games, but they could have just as easily. So I just don't see where, the program was not slipping. It was not slipping. And exactly. I do kind of get ticked off when I hear people say, well, the program was slipping under Nick Saban. Pardon me? Do you already forget, like I said, what kind of underdog Alabama was last year when they went into Atlanta to play Georgia? No, most people did not think that Alabama would win that game and be in the playoff. And it shook up everything when Georgia got beat. So if that's slipping, then I hope they're slipping this year. I hope they slip all the way into Atlanta this year and knock off the Georgia Bulldogs.
Great points here. I love the show. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you, Tom. Good call. It's 9:29 here on the Gary Harris Show. Hey, listen, beautiful weather is here, and it's summer. Days are long. Today's the longest day of the year, by the way. And a lot of people are wanting to get out and play some golf. Tall Pines Golf Course in Tuscaloosa can help you with that. They are a full-service golf course with brand-new greens, open to the public. You can call to make a tee time, 205-556-1232 in East Tuscaloosa in the beautiful Woodland Forest neighborhood. Putting green, driving range, and if you want to become a member, they do have memberships, and that gives you pool privileges, clubhouse privileges, and more. Tall Pines Golf Course in Tuscaloosa, 5604 Woodland Forest Drive. Call for a tee time, 205-556-1232. All right, we're going to come back and hear from Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe, who was in attendance for that barnstorming celebrity softball game last night over at Rickwood Field, and he met with reporters. We're going to have that for you next, right here on the Gary Harris Show. Since 2011, Billy's Sports Grill, located on Main Avenue in historic downtown Northport, has been serving their legendary signature chicken sandwich, award-winning wings, and handcrafted cocktails. Billy's is also the spot to watch all your favorite sporting events with big screen, high-definition televisions, both dining rooms, at the bar, and
sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Los Tarascos has been serving Mexican favorites like burritos, fajitas, and quesadillas since 1999. Their new location is at 4100 Owen Parkway in Northport. And, of course, you can find Los Tarascos in Tuscaloosa at 110 Skyland Boulevard. The bar areas feature big screen television so you can enjoy your favorite sporting events. Los Tarascos features daily happy hour specials. And for the best Mexican cuisine in West Alabama, remember, the name is Los Tarascos with locations in Tuscaloosa and Northport.
Tuscaloosa's Old Colony Golf Course is an 18-hole championship layout designed by 1976 U.S. Open champion Jerry Pate. Director of Golf John Gray and fitting specialist Bob Montgomery are PGA certified. Mike Shivitz is the head professional and director of the Tuscaloosa Junior Golf Program. Call today to secure a tee time at the Tuscaloosa Championship Golf Course. Everyone can play. 205-562-3201. Old Colony is operated by Para.
Did you miss any episode on Tide 100.9? Don't worry. All of our shows can be found on Spotify and Apple Music and on demand on the Tide 100.9 app.
All right, 9:33. Welcome back into the Gary Harris Show. Phone lines open in this first hour as we do not have any guests in this hour number one, which is kind of cool. Sometimes it's nice to be able to get on here and yap, and that's what I've been doing. But 205-342-9904 is the number on the Pinnacle Park at North River Hotline if you want to give us a ring. All right, as I said earlier in the show, we've been covering the stuff. WVOA 23 has been covering the stuff at Rickwood all week long. We were over there for the Barons and Biscuits game on Tuesday night, and then last night we were there for the barnstorming celebrity softball game. and it was something else, man. I mean, it was a who's who of major leaguers, former major leaguers, NFL stars, Terrell Owens, Jameis Winston. You go on and on and on, and quite the Alabama contingent. Former athletes and current Crimson Tide quarterback Jalen Milroe participated. And Milroe, as the majority of the athletes did, had a media session with reporters. And we've got that audio for you, courtesy of WVUA 23. Here is Jalen Milroe meeting with the press last night over at Rickwood Field.
Historic night here to be able to play in this game and also be able to be around people of Birmingham. What does this mean to you?
A great opportunity today to be here. But one thing we have to do is acknowledge what today is. It's a day of freedom, the day of the remembrance of what it took to get to this day. So we can't take that lightly. But it's a great opportunity to be here in front of Birmingham. And then also for the state of Alabama. It's a great opportunity just to be in front of them. And so just enjoy the moment, just have fun with all the guys that's here.
Exactly. Willie Mays passed away yesterday. He was always just a bright light on the field. And I know you don't play baseball, but he's still that way with other sports. How can people be more like Willie Mays?
Yeah, absolutely. In life, you're going to have a lot of impact with people, and he's one of them. And so of all of us, we can learn a lot of things from him and try to apply it to our life, and that's the biggest thing, to acknowledge how great he was as a person and to just always have him in remembrance as we live our lives. So, that's today, we're going to play for him, and acknowledge, how great he was and how special of a person he was.
How are you feeling? I know you missed batting practice, so what can we expect? I know you got a great arm. I mean, how are you feeling going into those cages?
I'm going to have fun. That's the biggest thing. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to make it work.
This is a 3-day event, too. I mean, what do you think whenever anybody comes in here to see what this field means, to see anybody, media members, what should people take away from this experience?
I think the biggest thing to take away is how special this place is. People don't acknowledge, how special this place is and how historic it is. And that's something I noticed. This is my first time here, and hearing a lot of great things about it, leading up to this day. So I was super excited. I found out about this event, and I just learned more and more about the event. So it's super exciting.
You guys have anything else?
How do you feel about this upcoming season?
Super excited about the season, super confident. I'm pleased with the guys, with how well we took on the challenge. And this has been a big offseason for us, and we're just steadily trying to get better. Steadily climb. Coach DeBoer talking about continuous improvement, and just trying to go 1-0 each and every day, and that's how we do it. Stay in the process of right now. Instead of looking at future tense, look at right now.
You heard about the news of Caden coming back. How happy that makes you knowing you get that big guy blocking for you again?
Oh yeah, no, 100%. To have see the news with him coming back, it's definitely very exciting to have him back. He's done a really good job just trying to improve, get better. And then also, build his relationship with the coaching staff that's here now, and also just trying to get better on the field. So super excited to have him back, to have him on the blind side. So we're going to definitely need him to be successful this year.
Is there one guy, maybe a pro guy that maybe you've looked up to, maybe watching TV, that you're excited to maybe meet and play with today?
Sure, every one of them. So I walked in the locker room, and my eyes are open, just smiling. Everybody in that locker room, it was dope. It was dope, especially because the girl watching these guys in the locker room that now take on the field with them. It's going to be a special moment. So I just say, everybody in that room, it was very cool.
Who you got with you today?
So I got UJ, my strength coach. He's very special to me. We have a great relationship. That's my dog. That's someone that I lean on through the process since I've been in college. Me and him are really tight. And then I had Walt, who's here. He's a part of our creative media team. And then my agent, Jamani, is here.
All right, awesome, Jalen. Thank you. We appreciate your time.
Yeah.
All right, good stuff there from Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe last night over at the that barnstorming celebrity softball game at Rickwood Field. And of course, tonight, obviously, the big league game. It's still just phenomenal. Fox will carry it beginning at 6 p.m., and it's the St. Louis Cardinals versus the San Francisco Giants. Obviously, there will be a remembrance for the great Willie Mays, who passed away just a couple of days ago. And this week has been a tribute to the Negro Leagues and to a large part a tribute to Willie Mays, who had hoped to attend the event even. And, obviously now has passed away at the age of 93. But it's going to be a special night in Birmingham, and that was really a great event last night. And we're going to get to some more sound here in just a little bit in regards to Colin Sexton, former Alabama basketball player, now with the NBA's Utah Jazz. And, of course, Najee Harris, former Alabama running back, now with the Pittsburgh Steelers. But a really cool night and a great week. And we did a lot of coverage yesterday on the show in regards to Rickwood Field, and that was pretty awesome. And it's going to be great tonight. 205-342-9904. We're wide open for phone calls. No guest here in the first hour if you want to give us a ring. Getting back to Alabama football, because, again, I want to be clear. I'm excited, too. I'm excited for what's ahead with Kalen DeBoer. I love the approach. As I said, I think it would have been a mistake to bring a coach in here that was going to try to do it the Nick Saban way. But I do want to caution people, again, to, what Nick Saban did in 17 years here. It's arguably the best run in the history of college football, with 6 national titles, 9 SEC championships, and really in the hunt every year for a national championship or SEC title going into November, other than year number 1. Every other year going into November, Alabama was in the hunt. And when you look at 2008, they lost to Florida in the SEC championship game. Alabama was 12-0. 2009, they won it. 2010, they had the upset loss at South Carolina, and then they lost twice in November at LSU, and, of course, in the comeback at Bryant-Denny to Auburn, and had 3 losses. 2011, they won it all. 2012, they won it all. 2013 was the Kick 6 game. 2014 was the first year of the expanded of the playoff, the 14 playoff. They won the SEC and lost to Ohio State in the semifinals. 2015 they won it. 2016 12-0, won the semifinal game, and then lost that heartbreaker to Clemson down in Tampa, literally in the final seconds. 2017, they won it all. 2018, played for it, got beat by Clemson again. 2019, they didn't make the playoff, but were in contention up until that Iron Bowl loss down at Jordan-Hare. 2020, undefeated, perfect season, won it all. 2021, played for it, won the SEC, played for the national championship. 2022, the 2 losses on the last play of the games against Tennessee and against LSU kept them out of the playoff, but right there in contention the whole way. And in 2023, of course, won the SEC championship, made it to the college football playoff, and lost to Michigan in the Rose Bowl college football playoff semifinals. So you're talking about every year, basically, from 2008 through 2023, being in the hunt for a national championship in November. And that's just unprecedented. Now, could it be done again? Yeah, technically, because with a 12-team playoff, and who knows, it may be more than that at some point. But with more teams available to be in the playoff, then yeah, technically you may have teams that have a long run of seasons where they're in the hunt for the playoff in November. But it'll be a different whole way of looking at it. I mean, you could have 2 losses, even 3 losses, and technically still be in the hunt for a playoff spot going into November, because there's more spots available. But under the old BCS format, where there are only 2 teams, and then the college football playoff with just 4 teams, to have that run of 16 straight years heading into November in contention for either a BCS spot or a college football playoff spot is absolutely phenomenal. Now, I think Alabama's going to make the playoff this year. As I've said, I really like what Kalen DeBoer is doing. I think, as I said right when he got the job, I thought Nick Saban was the perfect coach at the right time for Alabama. I think Kalen DeBoer is the perfect coach at the right time this time. But at the same time, I do have to keep in mind the reality of results. Nick Saban always said it's about the process and the results take care of themselves. But if you don't get the results, regardless of your process, people are going to, they're going to be fans. Fans are going to be fans. So this first year, all of the things that are happening that are positive will be washed out in a hurry. Let's say you go to Madison, Wisconsin in week 3 and you get upset and you got to go into that bye week before Georgia comes in here, coming off a loss. That's going to be a long 2 weeks. And I don't think that's going to happen. I think Alabama's going to win at Wisconsin, but it's not going to be an easy game. You get Western Kentucky and South Florida at home. You're 2-0. You're going to Madison for the big noon kickoff on Fox. A lot of pop in circumstances. We saw it a couple years ago when Alabama went to Texas. Now, this past year, Texas came in here and won, but when Alabama went to Texas a couple of years ago, Justin, you'll remember Alabama was a pretty prohibitive favorite in that game. It wasn't expected that game was going to come down to the end, and really Alabama fortunate to win the game. But because of the travel, because of that fan base being rabid the way that they were, it turned out to be a hornet's nest, and Alabama survived it and got the win. It could be similar in Madison at Camp Randall Stadium in September. That place is going to be rabid. Alabama coming to Camp Randall to play Wisconsin. So it's going to be a tough environment. It's not a gimme. And then obviously the bye week, and then you get Georgia. Now, flip side of that is you win at Camp Randall, you get to go to the bye, you come back and you beat Georgia, and you start 4-0 with a win over the Bulldogs, and everybody's going to be giddy. So results still matter, because for fans, that's really all that matters, is what you do on the field. So all the stuff leading up to it, how you go about it, what your process is, only really carries weight with fans if you get the results in the fall. So if Alabama gets positive results, again, everybody's going to be looking at, man, this is the new wave. This is the way you do it. This is the way that you go about building a team, with all the stuff at practice, all the flamboyance. But if you don't get the results, people, as I said, are going to fall back on the old standard lines about, well, that's what you get with all this stuff that's going on instead of practicing football. So we will see. 9:46 here on the Gary Harris Show. One final segment to go in hour number 1 at 10:30. Johnny Cogden from ABC 3340 is going to join us. Phone calls are welcome. I'd love to hear you chime in on what you think of where Alabama football is headed in the Kalen DeBoer era. We're still in June, but SEC Media Days are less than a month away in Dallas. I think they begin July 15th. And then, of course, once you get back from Media Days, you get that kind of couple of weeks, and then we're into fall camp, and it'll be here before you know it. So what are your thoughts on this first year with Kalen DeBoer and what you're seeing from this new Alabama coaching staff, whether it's recruiting, whether it's the way they handle spring practice, off-season workouts, or anything else? You're more than welcome to chime in. All right, we'll take a timeout. We'll be back with the Gary Harris Show on Tide 100.9 FM and 1230 AM WTBC.
Coming up on The Game with Ryan Fowler.
Coming up on the Thursday edition of The Game, Rodney Orr, TiderInsider.com, TiderInsider.com. We're going to talk about the big recruiting weekend that Alabama is expected to have. We're also going to talk about the Elite 11. We're going to take your phone calls and a lot more starting at 2 p.m. here on The Game on Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
The longest running sports program
in the construction field. Go to skilltradesofwestalabama.com and find out more information about the 4-week Jumpstart program and take your first steps towards a rewarding career.
If you haven't already, you've got to try Tuscaloosa's unique breakfast, brunch, and lunch concept. Brick and Spoon, downtown Tuscaloosa, Timerson Square. It's fresh food with a Cajun flair featuring a full bar with build-your-own Bloody Marys and mimosas. Open daily, 7 a.m. until 2 p.m. Available for after-hours events, rehearsal dinners, receptions, and birthdays. They offer brunch and lunch catering. Call Brick and Spoon at 205-345-5551 for more information.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Well, today's the first day of summer. The solstice occurs at 3:50 p.m. this afternoon. More sunshine today, still dry, a little hotter. The afternoon high near 93. Tonight, partly cloudy skies, the overnight low near 70. And for your Friday, partly cloudy. It'll be heating up, but still dry. Humidity levels will be rising. Look for a high of 94.
I'm meteorologist Bill Murray on Tide 100.9.
It's 84 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
You're listening to The Gary Harris Show. Goal line in, touchdown, Alabama! On your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9. And streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
$9:50. Welcome back into the Gary Harris Show. We're going to jump back out on the Pinnacle Park at North River Hotline and welcome RV into the show. Hey, RV, what's going on?
Hey, Gary. Good morning. Willie Mays has got me going down Nostalgia Boulevard this morning.
Oh, yeah.
I want to just talk about baseball back in the day of Willie Mays. Back, when I was playing baseball, we used real bats. We had the wooden bats. Of course, they splintered, cracked.
Sure.
Chipped or whatever, but they had baseball players' names on there. And they had people like Willie Mays. I can remember batting with Willie Mays' bat, Hank Aaron, Al Kaline, Harmon Killebrew, Roberto Clemente. And it somehow made you feel like a part of the player.
RV, you still there? RV. Dropped out on us. Hate that. Cell phones occasionally will do you in because he was making some great points about the bats and the players. Oh, well. I didn't catch it all. Justin, was you talking about using the bats that were signed by is that what he was talking about, the old Louisville Sluggers that were endorsed by the players?
Yeah, he was saying how the bats used to have the players' names on them.
I loved it
how
too.
It felt like you were a part of it almost.
Oh, absolutely. Same thing here. There were aluminum bats when I was a kid, but I still like the wooden bats, even after we had the aluminum bat option. And exactly what he's saying, man, to have an autographed bat by a Hank Aaron or by a Willie Mays or by, like you said, a Harmon Killebrew or Boog Powell or Brooks Robinson or Roberto Clemente or Ernie Banks or Willie McCovey, whomever it might be, to have that bat and in your hand, you felt like, I'm tied into a big leaguer here. So, you can, reminisce about baseball. It is a very nostalgic game, and it is America's pastime. And I do think that there's great baseball being played now, and these kids that are playing are so much better probably than when we played because, when we played, I'm turning 60 in a week. And you just went out and played Little League Baseball. There wasn't, it wouldn't have pitch clocks and radar guns and all that stuff on you. You're 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. You just played for fun. I mean, you're trying to win. But so the baseball is probably better now. But the idea of what baseball represents, I think, those days are gone, whether it be in the big leagues where you waited for the Saturday game of the week, even when there was Monday Night Baseball, and you didn't get to watch baseball all the time. And if you got to see a great player, hey man, it's going to be the Braves and the Giants on Saturday afternoon. Going to get to see Hank Aaron and Willie Mays. I mean, you jumped at that. So this week over at Rickwood, I think it's brought back a lot of memories for people, and I think it's been a reminder for people who are younger, just what baseball represents. In addition to the game, the playing of the game, the excitement. Now of course college baseball is a lot bigger now than it used to be when I was growing up. But as far as what baseball represents, I think we've lost a little bit of that that romance with the game, and there's no doubt it's been trumped by football as far as a spectator sport. There's no way around that. But baseball will always be special. We've heard from people this week talking about the memories they have with their dad and when they were a kid, going out and throwing or, shagging fly balls or whatever it may be. And it was probably a more innocent time, but great players are great players. And Willie Mays at 17 was playing with the Birmingham Black Barons, playing with grown men. And Willie Mays, and you talk about bigger, stronger, faster, and I do that a lot with where we've gone. with sports, but you take a 22-year-old Willie Mays and you put him in the bigs right now, and whether it's Acuna Jr. or any of these young stars, the kid with the Reds, nobody would be better than Willie Mays. Nobody would be better than Willie Mays. You take a 22-year-old Willie Mays and you put him in the big leagues right now, and he would dominate, especially with the technology that's available that they have now, because he could run, he could hit. He could hit for power. He could hit for average. He could throw with the best of them. Still probably the best defensive center fielder in the history of the game. And, great players are great players regardless of the era. But it's different now. But kids that have grown up with this era, that's what they know. They know that if you're 8 or 9 years old and you've got special talent, that baseball is probably a game where, a lot of times if you're a really talented young kid and your parents recognize that or a coach recognizes that, you're going to start getting specialized training. I see it all the time on social media with kids that are, they're already playing baseball, but they're getting specialized coaching. They're in a hitting cage. They're working on mechanics. That wasn't the way it was 50 years ago. 50 years ago, you just went out and you just played. And the little league coach probably worked a job down at the plant. He would get off work and he would call, come over and have practice, and he'd have somebody helping him out. And that's all there was to it. Now, man, kids at 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, I mean, like I said, they're working with sometimes major leaguers. It's or former major leaguers or the guys that run these camps, and they're traveling and they're travel ball. And I know of a friend of mine who's got a young man that's a good player, and they will fly down to Florida for instruction, for 3 or 4 days with a former major leaguer and just work with him. Individual training. I don't know what that costs. I know it's a lot, but that's kind of where we're at. All right. Hey, RV, that your call dropped out, man. Maybe you can call back in the second hour. I'd love to hear what you were going to say about baseball. All right. It is 9:57. We are going to get to the break and wrap up this first hour. It's been brought to you by Alabama Credit Union. Hour number 2 is on the way, and we're going to have it for you. And Johnny Congdon will join us at 10:30. More of your phone calls as well. The Gary Harris Show on Tide 100.9 FM and 1230 AM. WTBC. Another hour is coming up. Los Tarascos has been serving Mexican favorites like burritos, fajitas, and quesadillas since 1999. Their new location is at 4100 Owen Parkway in Northport. And, of course, you can find Los Tarascos in Tuscaloosa at 110 Skyland Boulevard. The bar areas feature big screen television so you can enjoy your favorite sporting events. Los Tarascos features daily happy...
Wow, it worked, guys.
Yeah. Downy Rinse and Refresh removes more odor in one wash than the leading value detergent in 3 washes. Find it wherever you buy laundry products.
Life doesn't wait for when your finances are in perfect order. It just happens. But no matter what surprises come your way, Alabama Credit Union will be here to help make it affordable with great personal loans, mortgages, and auto loans. They offer an easy application process and fast decisions so you can stay focused on feeling good about whatever life brings your way. Alabama Credit Union will be here to help make it affordable with great personal loans.
$400 on select kitchen packages with 4th of July savings at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Pricing valid June 19th through July 10th. U.S. only. See store online for details.
As much as Innisfree has evolved, it will always be that place to escape and have a good time. Whether it's for a game day weekend, to reminisce on college days, or to create new memories, if you're looking for a good time, there's only one thing to do. Head to the Free at 1925 University Boulevard. And don't forget about the Lucky Lunch Meat and 3 special. Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. Get a meat and 3 vegetables for just $8.49. Or for a lighter appetite, try the Lucky Lunch soup, salad, or sandwich combo. I'll see you at the Free.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Kevin Wyatt.
Matchup of Slovenia and Serbia in the UEFA Euro 2024 championships. They're now in the 85th minute. Slovenia with a 1-0 lead against Serbia, as Serbia trying to get the equalizer. They had a corner kick that went just wide, so they've got maybe 10 minutes or so at best to come back and try to at least force a draw. Next game coming up at noon Eastern time, Denmark and England. That game can be seen over on FS1. Then at 3 o'clock, the huge matchup between Spain and Italy, and that can be seen over on Big Fox. Major League Baseball. Last night was the Orioles beating the Yankees 7-6 in 10 innings. So the Orioles now a game and a half back in New York in the AL East standings, and Garrett Cole making his season debut, going 4 innings, allowing 2 runs.
Now, this hour's West Alabama real-time news update from the Tuscaloosa Thread Newsroom.
The news community is mourning the loss of a 14-year-old who was killed during a crash Tuesday afternoon. A second teen was also injured. The vehicle they were in left the roadway and overturned on Clements Road near Hagler-Coling Road. Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville accusing President Biden of intentionally destroying U.S. borders with 11 million illegal immigrants since he's taken office. And the nation's oldest professional baseball park, Rickwood Field in Birmingham, hosts the St. Louis Cardinals and San Francisco Giants tonight. It's a tribute to the Negro Leagues and Willie Mays.
Get 24/7 local news coverage and sports updates when you download the free Tuscaloosa Thread app and sign up for twice daily email newsletters. The Gary Harris Show. UCM host Tider Insider TV, Crimson Tide Kickoff, play-by-play for Alabama sports, and sports director for WVUA 23. It's time for the Gary Harris Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Hour number 2, the Gary Harris Show. It's 10:02 a.m. for this Thursday, June 20, 2024. Gary Harris and Justin Jones for another hour here on the Gary Harris Show. This hour being brought to you, as always, by Patterson Comer Attorneys at Law. Patterson Comer is dedicated to serving our clients. Integrity and excellence are the driving force behind the firm and its staff. And I certainly am a believer in Patterson Comer. Paul's in Tuscaloosa, 205-345-1000. Mike's in Northport, 205-759-3939. If you've got a legal question that's a result of a automobile accident, personal injury, wrongful death, product liability, or 18-wheeler accidents, our business is to take care of your needs. Call Paul in Tuscaloosa, as I said, at 205-345-1000, or Mike in Northport at 205-759-3939. Feet on the ground in West Alabama. That's important when it comes to personal injury attorneys. The commitment to serve our clients does not stop at the end of the workday. We're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. PattersonComerLawFirm.com.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of services performed by other lawyers.
All right, we're going to try RV again, who must have entered cell service purgatory there in the first hour because we lost him completely. But RV's back now. RV, are you loud and clear?
Yeah, I think so. You hear me okay?
Yeah, we got you this time.
Okay, listen, dude, you know, these cell companies say we've got 99.9% of coverage. I think I hit that 0.1 a few minutes ago.
You did, but you're back.
Anyway, we're talking about nostalgia. We were talking about the old baseball bats, had the baseball players' names on there. That was one thing I wanted to mention. The other thing is, when you think about some of the greatest athletes in their sport of all time, and Willie Mays definitely falls into that category, and baseball. Hank Aaron falls into that category. But what I'm saying is, what do they have in common? They were born in Alabama. You think about people also like Evander Holyfield, Jesse Owens,
Joe Louis,
Bo Jackson. You ever thought about some of the greatest athletes in the world in their sport are from the state of Alabama, born in Alabama?
No doubt about it. And it's not a coincidence. So when you're thinking about, particularly when you're going back to guys that were born, in the 20s, 30s, 40s, you're talking about a rural state with not many resources. Kids played outside. If they didn't have a bat and a ball, they picked up a stick and some rocks, and they carved down a stick, and or they found whatever they could. But you're talking about, and obviously boxing was an easy sport because all it involved was punching or finding some cheap gloves. And seriously,
right.
And track and field, because you just got out and you ran. So when you're talking about the Jesse Owens and the Joe Lewises and the Willie Mays and the Hank Aarons and the Willie McCoveys and the Tommy Agees, and it goes on and on and on, throughout sports and NBA and NFL too. You're going to, the Bo Jackson, right up there with Jim Thorpe as far as, one of the greatest athletes in the history of our country. So many of them coming from Alabama, RV, you're right. It's not coincidence. It's an area of the country where sports is important. It was a way to get out, and there was a lack of resources for a lot of these kids growing up in these rural communities. So they found a way to have fun, and you didn't do it sitting inside playing a video game because that wasn't available to you. You got outside, and if if one of the kids in the neighborhood had a football, that's all you needed was one, because everybody's going to get to play with it. Same thing, if one kid was lucky enough to have a bat and a glove and a ball, everybody got to use it. So you're right. I mean, it's the rich sports history of the state of Alabama. It takes a back seat to no state in the union. And again, in Major League Baseball, you rattle off some of the biggest names in the history of the game have Alabama roots. We're not even mentioning, we've been focusing this week on the Negro League, so we've been speaking of a lot of African Americans, but the state of Alabama's produced great white players too. Don Sutton comes to mind, and many others. Great sports state.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was just thinking about you. The old song says, "Stars fell on Alabama," but I can also say stars come from Alabama.
No doubt, and still churning them out today. It's the sports is important in the South, and again, in a state like Alabama, for many kids, it's an opportunity to go to college, and for many kids, it's an opportunity to hopefully one day be a millionaire through sports. So they're serious about it, and that has been developed over the years, so that now, despite our population, which isn't a lot compared to most states, the high school football coaching that kids receive in this state is, really, really good. Same thing with, baseball and basketball. You've got good coaches, you've got good programs, kids are developed, so they have an opportunity to excel. And, we talked about Joe Louis. I think Ernie Shavers might even have been born in Alabama. But then, for so long, we didn't even have a boxing commission. And yet, here's Deontay Wilder, who just walks into J.D.'s gym back in the early 2000s. And the next thing you know, he's an Olympian and the heavyweight champion of the world. So, it's a rich boxing history in this state, too.
Yeah, and what I'm hearing, they've got another young boxer coming up through there that's going to be good.
Well, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it at all. So, but hey, before we lost you, you were talking about, and I was wrong on Ernie Shavers. I wanted to check on that. He was not born in the state of Alabama, so I was wrong on that guy. But there have been some others. But you were talking about the bats, when we were growing up, having, the autographed bats and how cool that was. You wanted to grab a bat by your favorite player if you could. And I was thinking back to the same thing. Of course, most of those were Louisville Sluggers. But later on, as I got older, there were other bat companies that would still have it. But that was pretty cool, to grab a wooden bat and you'd see whether it was Willie Mays or Hank Aaron or Willie McCovey or Ernie Banks or Roberto Clemente, whoever it might be, had that autographed bat. You were talking about that before we lost you. But
Yeah, absolutely. And then once they were cracked, our baseball coach would let us have them. So I took a lot of black electrical tape through the years and taped that baby back up because it had Mickey Mantle's name on that bat. That's something I want to play with in my yard for a long time.
All right, now Justin's corrected me. I was right. Ernie Shaver was born in Alabama in 1944, Garland, Alabama, one of the biggest punchers in the history of the heavyweight division. In fact, you talk to some fighters from the 70s, and they will tell you, not Ken Norton, not George Foreman, not obviously Frazier. They say the hardest, a lot of the boxers would say the guy that threw the biggest punch was Ernie Shaver, and he is an Alabama native, born in Garland, Alabama. I'm not even sure where Garland is at. Do you know, RV?
I'm thinking it's down near Georgiana somewhere.
Yeah, it's got to be down in South Alabama. I'll try to look that up. But I was right on Ernie Shaver. And then I thought I was wrong. Hey, thank you, RV. Good call.
All right, bro.
All right, let's get to Frank as we're going to keep it rolling here on the Pinnacle Park at North River Hotline. Good morning, Frank.
Good morning. Enjoy your show. Glad you're talking about baseball. I've got a little nostalgia I'd like to share with you.
Sure.
I'm in my 80s, and I'm originally from the Birmingham area, and my father used to take me and my brother to the Barons game back in the late 40s and pretty much all of the 50s. And back in that time, it was some great minor league baseball, and then the A's were the franchise for many, many years, and got to see a lot of the A's players who Vida Blue and Jackson, those guys who came through there. So very nostalgic, and glad to see that they have refurbished the facilities that really needed it, and just a lot of great memories. But one other part of the equation is I was listening yesterday to Feinbaum, and he was interviewing the mayor of Birmingham. And the mayor of Birmingham made some kind of, I think, negative remarks about the fact that there weren't enough black players in the major leagues anymore, and that the black youth in Birmingham were not having a good experience. So I guess my question to you is that a true statement as far as what's available in Birmingham? I thought there was a lot of opportunities for kids in Birmingham to play baseball.
Yeah, Frank, run it by me one more time to make sure I heard you correctly. Exactly. Let me give it to me one more time, so I'm gonna make sure that I hear it correctly. So I'm gonna give the right answer.
Well, the mayor was complaining about the fact that there were not enough black players in the baseball major league.
Right. Yeah.
And
he said it was a lack of resources or lack of opportunities.
Well, he didn't specifically address that. He just addressed the Birmingham area.
Okay.
And he was talking about the fact that the black young kids in Birmingham apparently were not having the same opportunity as some of the other maybe parts of Birmingham. I don't know, but he made it sound like that they didn't have the opportunity to play baseball.
I got you. Yeah. Frank,
I find that hard to believe.
Well, here's the thing. There has been some concern in recent years about the lack of African Americans in the major leagues. You know, there are certainly a lot of players of color, but majority of them do come from Latin countries, Dominican. Of course, now we have a very, very heavy presence of Japanese players because they play great, incredible baseball. But but I'm with you. I don't think that it's a lack of opportunities. I think it's a lack of interest. I think in the last, like we talked about years ago, I mean, kids grew up playing baseball. They just did. It was again, if you just had, you could get a stick and carve down a stick, and kids would pitch rocks and hit them. You didn't need a lot of tools, and kids started building the hand-eye coordination, and baseball was popular among kids. I think in the last 30 or 40 years, Frank, and it's not all African American kids. There's some white kids are the same way. A lot of kids don't. Baseball is not what it was to us. They want to play football or they want to play basketball, and they just don't. And I think particularly in the African American community, more kids grow up wanting to play in the NBA and play in the NFL than play Major League Baseball. Now, if you want to call that a disconnect, I don't know, but I'm with you. I think, but what I know about the city of Birmingham and the outlying communities, there's all types of youth baseball programs over there, and I know there are here in Tuscaloosa, and plenty of opportunities for kids to play baseball. It's just them, deciding they want to go out and play. So I would think if and they say the numbers are down, if that's the case, it's more because kids, not that they don't have the opportunity to play, but they just choose to play other sports. And baseball doesn't seem to have the pizzazz that playing basketball or football does. That's the way I would answer that.
Yeah, I think you're correct. And I just was a little bit taken back by his comments because I know personally of some very good opportunities in the Birmingham area. So I think you're right. It's just the interest. I just don't think there is the interest that there used to be. And, basketball and football seem to be the predominant areas that they focus on. So, there's some great African Americans that came from Alabama and around the Southeast, and they're great players overall. So that was my comment, but I'm glad to see that they have refurbished the facility there in Birmingham. That's quite a place.
Yeah, it is, and now it's going to guarantee. I know Miles College is going to play their games there, and I know that they're going to. Like I said yesterday on my show, I'd love to see Alabama and Auburn and Jacksonville State and Sanford and schools around the state play a game or two, or play each other over there. I think that'd be fun to have a Rickwood College Classic, maybe where you'd have maybe Alabama could play UAB and Auburn could play Jacksonville State or Troy. You know what I'm saying? And play a couple games there on early in the season. There's just so many opportunities now with that ballpark being refurbished the way that it is to use it. So, yeah, it's going to be – and tonight, listen, Frank, I know obviously you're a baseball fan. I'm still – and I'm going to have a full crew over there from the TV station, Stu McCann and Alex Booth, and one of our photographers are going to be there. I'm going to be back at the station, but I'm going to be watching that on TV and just soaking it up that there's going to be a Major League Baseball game being played at Rickwood Field in Birmingham, Alabama tonight. I can't wait.
So that'll be a monumental event, and I hope you keep pushing for this. They use that facility for a lot of these college things. That'd be great.
Thank you, Frank.
All right, have a good day.
Good to hear from you. 10:16 here on the Gary Harris Show. I want to remind you that Who's Q and Brew has a special going on the rest of the month tied into the Gary Harris Show, or really tied into Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. All you have to do to get 10% off any order of $20 or more is use the promo code Tide FM. That's Tide FM, TIDEFM. You can use it online or in person. And, you spend $40, you get $4 off. Spend $30, you get $3 off. The only thing it doesn't apply to are daily specials and bulk meat purchases. In other words, you buy, big package of barbecue, pulled pork or ribs or whatever. The special would not. But anything else, any of your regular orders, that's Tide FM, TIDEFM. Use it online or in person and get 10% off any order through the end of the month at Who's Q and Brew at the Northridge Center in Tuscaloosa. All right, we'll be back with more of the Gary Harris Show right here on Tide 100.9 FM and 12:30 a.m. WTBC.
If you haven't already, you've got to try Tuscaloosa's unique breakfast, brunch, and lunch concept, Brick and Spoon, downtown Tuscaloosa, Timerson Square. It's fresh food with a Cajun flair featuring a full bar with build-your-own Bloody Marys and mimosas. Open daily, 7 a.m. until 2 p.m., available for after-hours.
Remember M for money and Mesrano.
If it has a logo on it, call me, 205-800-8000.
Tuscaloosa's Old Colony Golf Course is an 18-hole championship layout designed by 1976 U.S. Open champion Jerry Pate. Director of Golf John Gray and fitting specialist Bob Montgomery are PGA certified. Mike Shivitz is the head professional and director of the Tuscaloosa Junior Golf Program. Call today to secure a
exit information kit free with the straight facts about timeshare cancellation.
Call 800-979-1441. 800-979-1441.
Since 2011, Billy's Sports Grill, located on Main Avenue in historic downtown Northport, has been serving their legendary signature chicken sandwich, award-winning wings, and handcrafted cocktails. Billy's is also the spot to watch all your favorite sporting events with big screen, high-definition televisions, both dining rooms, at the bar, and outside on the beautiful patio. Come by and say hello to Kim and Lisa, the Billy's Management Dream Team. Billy's, good food, good friends, and good time.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Well, today's the first day of summer. The solstice occurs at 3:50 p.m. this afternoon. More sunshine today, still dry, a little hotter. The afternoon high near 93. Tonight, partly cloudy skies, the overnight low near 70. And for your Friday, partly cloudy. It'll be heating up, but still dry. Humidity levels will be rising. Look for a high of 94.
I'm meteorologist Bill Murray on Tide 100.9.
It's 86 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Want to jump into any of the shows? Call Tide 100.9 right now at 205-342-9904.
Will somebody answer that damn phone?
That's 205-342-9904.
$10:20 as we return here to the Gary Harris Show. Phone lines are open on the Pinnacle Park at North River hotline 205-342-9904. Some good discussions today. It's Justin, I don't want to do every show like this. I like to have guests sprinkled throughout the show, and just one guest today. But it's been fun, getting to kick some topics around. I do want to get back to some of our great sound that we had last night from over at Rickwood Field. Former Alabama running back Najee Harris has never been shy. You put a microphone in front of him, and now, of course, he's a star running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He participated in that barnstorming softball charity event at Rickwood Field, and just like Jalen Milroe, he did a little media session, and we've got that for you now. Here's Najee Harris.
Just coming out here with all these athletes, just old school and even
It's an honor, man. You know, to be a part of this alone is an honor. You know, this is a place that has a lot of history, a part of it, a lot of history with it, and I'm glad to be a part of it. Being here with the older generation is good too, because it's wisdom they can pass down just about being an athlete and what comes with it, and the struggles and the things, and hearing their stories, just in a different sport too. There's a lot of legends out here. There's a lot of Hall of Famers out here. So me to be a part of that and really, like, you know, soak up game from all them, you know, it's cool. Yes, sir, it is.
What is it like walking in back day?
I mean, it's cool, man. It's nice, you know. I got, like I said, Jameis told me about the history of it. So when he was telling me more about it, I realized how really important it is to Alabama and just to MLB, really, because there's big names that came out of here, and a lot of history has been here. So to me, to even step on the field and play like a game like this is always an honor, and something that, you know, that will last forever.
It still felt surreal, like, knowing that Nick Saban's retired, and like what the conversation been like that we've had with him, like how you think he's kind of a happier guy retired?
Hell yeah. Is he happier? Hell yeah. But I mean, shoot, to keep it 100, me, like him, he made a comment to me about like 3 years when I first entered the NFL. So like, that wasn't really surprising. Obviously, like him being him, who he is and what he accomplished, you know, you don't want to see something like that retire. But man, what people got to understand is everybody's time is coming soon. You know what I mean? I'm happy that he from it. You know what I mean? It's hard to walk away from something you really love. But man, he got to live his life, man. Fans see winning, but they don't see what comes with it. You know what I mean? Him over there staying up hella late for meetings. Him over there staying up, you know, doing all this stuff. It's the injury reports. Him saying the game plan. You know, them coaches is there working hours, spending time away from their family and kids. Miss Terry too. Miss Terry is somebody that helped me out with my mama when she was in the hospital. She gave her flowers, and I will never forget that. So I'm happy that they could walk away. I'm happy that they could be with their family, enjoy themselves, man. Like, go travel, go see the world, man. Like, step away from this football stuff, man. Sometimes you can get sidetracked by all the expectations too placed upon you because you being in Alabama. I was in that whole environment, so I know how it is to lose a game. I know how it is to win the game by a touchdown and it's still not being enough. You know what I mean? I know how it is to you blowing somebody out and everybody in the stadium is leaving in the second quarter or whatever, and we've been working our ass off all summer. And it's like, damn, like, you know, as a coach, you know, you see that on the kids, and that kind of plays a part on you. So I'm glad that, you know, he's able to walk away. You know, you don't want to see it, but, you know, I mean, like I said, everybody has their day, man. Everybody got to retire. Somebody going to retire. Y'all want to retire?
Yeah.
You right. You want to retire, right? Okay now, right? Then, hey, let's let Saban get his rest, all right?
Last thing I really got for you is, you know, now you've gotten to practice him, Russell, like, how's it been having him on your center?
I don't want to talk about football. Okay. I'm a Steelers. I don't want to talk about Steelers.
He shut that down about the Steelers real quick, didn't he? That was, but no, he's funny and had some really interesting comments there from Najee Harris on Nick Saban and Miss Terry enjoying retirement. And he's right, you know, do some things, you know. I know last summer they went to Italy, and, you know, I'm thinking about retirement, you know, when it's going to come for me. And I think that one thing about retirement, it has a lot to do, I think, about, you know, do you have the means to do what you want to do, to make it interesting and make it fun? And there's no doubt in Nick Saban and Miss Terry's case, finances are not an issue. So, you know, they can go anywhere, anytime, in any manner that they want to go in regards to their travel. So that is exciting, I think, to be able to retire and think, man, I'm going to do some things that I've never done. Everybody can't do that. You know, some people retire and they don't have those means. You know, they're on a fixed income, or they're not in a situation where they have the financial ability to take special trips and do special things. And you know, that's not going to be an issue for the Sabans. So, and hopefully, you know, if you're out there listening, it won't be an issue for you, because I think retirement can be enjoyable. At least that's my perception of it, but not if you're kind of stuck, you know, not if you're struggling, you know, month to month to financially. So I think a lot of it depends on your situation. But I think in the Sabans case, obviously they can do whatever they want to do. All right, 10:26 here on the Gary Harris Show. And before we close out the show, we're still going to have some audio from Collins. How long is that Colin Sexton audio, Justin? 3 or 4 minutes? All right, let's go ahead and run him because we're going to get to Johnny, and we'll have our first guest in the next segment, Johnny Congdon. So we may not have time, to get Sexton in. So this is NBA player Colin Sexton, played 1 year at Alabama for Avery Johnson, and he was at the game last night as well.
Yes. Coming out here on this field. It was amazing just to know all the history that is a part of this place particularly, and be able to have this important game today on this important day. It's fun. It's fun to be here, and I'm excited.
This is a 3-day event. What do you think maybe that fans, people who come here, you guys, media, anyone participating specifically should really take away from this special moment?
I would say just make it fun. Make it fun and enjoy, but also know that we've came a long way, and I'm happy to be here, and I hope whoever comes is happy to be here as well. And I feel like this environment is really relaxed, and it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be for the family. It's supposed to be for the community. So,
how you feeling with your swing and stuff?
Oh, my swing is a little shaky, but I'm really good on defense, so that's all that matters.
I think Alabama went to the Final Four this past year. So, were you watching? Were you there?
Oh, yeah. I was watching. I was going to be there for the Final Four, but I couldn't because we had a game. But I was watching every step of the way, and I'm just glad the guys are just continuing to grow. Nate is doing a great job with the guys, and it's been amazing. It's definitely been amazing.
How do you feel about this going into this?
We got some guys. We definitely got some guys, and I look forward to it. And I would say they're just continuing to gel and just continuing to go and come together, and I feel like that's going to allow us to do bigger and better things. And even just go to the Final Four again. I feel like that's a huge goal, and that should be something that they mark on their calendars. Yeah.
How do you feel?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, off-season's been amazing. I've been getting after it 2-a-days, 3-a-days, just pretty much just trying to get after it and just get ready for the season. I had a great 6th year, so coming up 7th year, so I'm excited. I'm going to go out with a bang for sure, do my thing.
When was the last time you were down?
I go there pretty often. Me and Nate, we go on the lake a little bit and have a little bit of fun, so Alabama's like second home to me, so thank you. Roll Tide. Thank you.
All right, perfect timing. And Colin even got the Roll Tide in there at the end. The Utah Jazz guard at the barnstorming celebrity softball game last night over at Rickwood Field. All right, it's 10:29. We're going to take a timeout. We're going to go back with our first guest, an hour and a half into the show before we get a guest, and it's Johnny Congdon from ABC 3340. It's his Jeff Spiegel spot, but Jeff's on vacation, so Johnny, who works with Jeff, is going to pinch hit for him, and we'll talk a lot about 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Visit PattersonComerLawFirm.com.
No representations made that legal services provided by Patterson Comer is greater than any other legal services performed by any other lawyer.
Life doesn't wait for when your finances are in perfect order. It just happens. But no matter what surprises come your way, Alabama Credit Union will be here to help make it affordable with great personal loans, mortgages, and auto loans. They offer an easy application process and fast decisions so you can stay focused on feeling good about whatever life brings your way. Alabama Credit Union will be here to help make it affordable with great personal loans, mortgages.
Bring you 100% satisfaction and appointments set around your schedule. Give us a call for all your steam cleaning needs, 205-553-9460. Houston Hydro Steam. Quality work you can stand on. As much as Innisfree has evolved, it will always be that place to escape and have a good time. Whether it's for a game day weekend, to reminisce on college days, or to create new memories, if you're looking for a good time, there's only one thing to do. Head to the Free at 1925 University Boulevard. And don't forget about the Lucky Lunch Meat and 3 special. Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. Get a meat and 3 vegetables for just $8.49. Or for a lighter appetite, try the Lucky Lunch soup, salad, or sandwich combo. I'll see you at the Free.
Covering University of Alabama sports, as well as the national and local scene as well. The Gary Harris Show, only on Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
All right, 10:32. Welcome back into the Gary Harris Show, and we're on hold with Johnny Congdon because he just informed Justin that he's about to interview Albert Pujols, the former St. Louis Cardinals slugger, one of the great hitters of all time in Major League Baseball. So it happens. We schedule one guest, and then he isn't available when we call him. So, but you can't. I guess it's easier to tell us, hey, I'll call you when I'm done, than to say, hey, Albert, I'm about to do a radio interview. I'll get back to you. So we'll cut him a little bit of slack since he's interviewing Albert Pujols. But Johnny is going to call in, and we'll take him on the show here in a few minutes. So if I'd have known that, I held on to Colin Sexton, we could have run it in this segment. But you never, like we've talked about before, it's a fluid business, the radio business. And anyway, I've had fun today, not having any guests. We've had plenty to keep ourselves. And I see where Justin, my comments about the different practice strategy with the music and the internet celebrities and all that is made a thread on Tider Insider. So, people discussing.
Stirring them up this morning.
Yeah, people discussing it, the good, whether that's a good thing or bad thing or whatever about the way that practices are going on. And as I said, I've got no issue with it. I just, I think that it's only going to be an issue is if they don't win in the fall, Hey, this note too, Caleb Holt of Buckhorn High School is an incredible player, going to be a national recruit, and a guy that already has led Buckhorn to a couple state titles. He's still got a couple years of eligibility left. Just really, really, really a gifted player. So gifted, in fact, that he's been selected to the 2024 USA Men's Under-17 national team, which is a very prestigious squad. It only has 12 players on it, and Caleb Holt is one of them. So congratulations to him. What a gifted young man. Got to see him play in the state tournament this year, and boy, I mean he's got all the tools. I mean, now as I said, this is the NIL era. AAU is big. I think his AAU team is Adidas out of Atlanta. So, Adidas schools in Kansas, the one that jumps to mind, certainly may have an in there. But I know Alabama is recruiting him very, very diligently and will continue to. But he is a really gifted player. So congratulations to him on making that team. Hey, we mentioned this yesterday, but if you're Monty Williams, yeah, I know it stings. I know it stings to get fired. I get that. I know that it does. Listen, I'm not saying. I've always said, no, regardless of money, nobody wants to get fired. But if you're Monty Williams, I mentioned this yesterday, May 2023, he was fired by the Phoenix Suns, securing a $20 million plus buyout in June of 2023. Basically hired by the Pistons, 6-year, $78.5 million deal, the largest coaching contract in NBA history at the time. And then June of 2024, yesterday, in fact, fired by the Pistons after just one season, securing a $65 million plus buyout. How crazy is that? I think I just would take off. But now he'll get more coaching opportunities if he wants them. That's the thing. I mean, he's still considered a good coach. But Trajan Langdon, which is he's the new executive in charge of the Pistons. He wanted to bring his own guy in, so they're going to pay Monty Williams $65 million plus just to go do whatever it is Monty Williams wants to do. How are we all not so lucky? I'll say it a million times, Justin. If I had it to do over again, 18-year-old Gary Harris would have pursued a coaching career and not a broadcasting career. All right, Johnny Congdon is now with us. Like I said, he just pushed us to the side for Albert Pujols. I guess we can cut you some ABC 3340 sports reporter anchor. I guess we can cut you a little bit of slack. You're my only guest today. Only one guest on the entire show, and then we call you and you brush us off.
Gary, I've made up a few excuses in my life. I've never been able to say, hey, can you have 5 minutes? I have to interview arguably the greatest right-handed hitter in the history of Major League Baseball. So that was kind of a thrill for me. But no, I apologize my tardiness. But as far as excuses go, this is going straight to the top of my list.
That's a legit one. There's no doubt. Well, it's all part of what's been a big week. And we've talked a lot about it here on my show. And obviously been talking about it on TV. And I know you have too. But, What a special week. I want you've covered it every day. I want you to try to put it in context for us, what this week meant anyway before the passing of Willie Mays, but the tribute to the Negro Leagues, the Juneteenth celebration, the Southern League game between the Barons and the Biscuits, and they used their old Negro League names, the Gray Sox and the Black Barons, then that barnstorming celebrity softball game last night, then obviously culminating tonight with this amazing thing that we're going to see, a Major League Baseball game at Rickwood Field, broadcast nationally by Fox. What a week. Just Ty, you've been there for every bit of it. Just kind of put it in context, what this has been like.
Yeah, Gary, this is so incredibly special for all the reasons that you just stated. But the fact that Birmingham is taking such a national spotlight is on the stage. Of course, the celebrity softball game and the Barons last night playing on Major League Baseball Network. And then, of course, tonight the big league game will be carried on Fox. And I got to give Major League Baseball a lot of credit for kind of breaching out and kind of getting outside of their comfort zone. They've done things like international games in Japan. They've gone to England. And obviously now with the most recent Field of Dreams game that they've played in Iowa. And now that somebody in Major League Baseball had the brilliant idea of saying, why not play a Major League Baseball game at the most historic park in all of baseball? And everyone likes to think that's Fenway or Wrigley, but until you have a chance to show up to Rickwood Field, to walk in there, I mean, it's chilling. You understand the legends that have come before it, obviously with the Negro League players and everything that they had to endure both on and off the field. It's just, I also encourage all your listeners, if you ever have a free day off or a weekend, to go to the Southern League Museum, which is right next to Regents Field in downtown Birmingham. That is one of the coolest museums any sports fan or someone who cares about history or cares about the city of Birmingham, take that in. We walked around. We were on a deadline for work. We probably walked around for 45 minutes. You could be there for 4 hours with all the memorabilia and all the stories and all the jerseys and baseballs, and you're really walking through a shrine of history. So the fact that all of these players, I mean, we were just talking to CC Sabathia, Jimmy Rollins, Ryan Howard, obviously Albert Pujols. I mean, they all understand the significance of coming out for an event like this, because this is history. This is the first Major League Baseball game ever played in maybe the most historic ballpark, and not just the South, not just America. I'd go as far as to say all of North America. Tonight is going to be a movie.
Yeah, it's just incredible. And like I said, it's framed against the backdrop of, I know we were all hopeful that Willie Mays was going to be able to attend. Sure. And then you get the San Francisco Giants release a statement on Monday saying that the 93-year-old Mays would not be able to attend, but he sent his best wishes and all that. I still was stunned on Tuesday during the Barons and Biscuits game. The Giants put out the announcement that he had passed at 93, and it's announced over the loudspeakers there. Just a surreal moment. And we hate to lose the oldest living Hall of Famer, arguably still the greatest player to ever play Major League Baseball. But in some ways, I think it's fitting that he passed during this incredible week. What was that like to be there and then have the announcement that Willie Mays had passed away?
The first kind of big announcement I feel like in the social media era is, if you remember, when we got Bin Laden, it was during Sunday Night Baseball, and it was a Mets-Phillies game, and word started to get around the stadium because people had smartphones and were starting to trickle through that information. The other night felt like the announcement over the loudspeaker was the first to announce it. So the moans and the groans from the people and just kind of the shock and awe of the situation, it was surreal, obviously for all the wrong ways, but I believe it was at 93 years old. That is a full life lived. And when I think of Willie Mays, the only thing I look back at and I shrug my head at is the fact that he wasn't a unanimous Hall of Famer. I mean, for all the voters, if you look at that and you look at, I don't know, was it the 20-time All-Star or the 600-plus home runs? If you look at that guy and don't put him on your Hall of Fame first ballot, you don't deserve a vote. So obviously, speaking to these perennial All-Stars from my childhood that were here today, speaking to them about Willie Mays is he's an icon, and he remained present in the game. He was always a mentor, rather if you were a San Francisco Giants fan or a Los Angeles Dodger. He was always there to lend a word of advice. And obviously, culturally, he's going to be remembered. In my opinion, Gary is the greatest athlete that ever came out of the state of Alabama. And I don't just say that now because of his passing. I'm pretty confident in 20, 30 years when we go through the list of athletes from this state, Willie Mays will remain at the top of that list.
Yeah, and that is saying something when you think about Jesse Owens and Joe Lewis and Bo Jackson and others. But, yeah, you can't go wrong with a Say Hey Kid. Just a phenomenal baseball player. And a lot of people don't realize – now, he didn't actually go to battle. But Willie Mays lost nearly 2 years of his career during the Korean conflict. He was drafted and mainly, I think, speaking of barnstorming, I think he mainly played baseball when he was in the military. But still, you take those nearly 2 seasons, and if he's playing, and this is in his prime, you're talking about the early 50s, he probably would have gotten to broken Babe Ruth's home run record, not only broken it, but broken it obviously before Henry Aaron was able to do it. Another Alabama native from Mobile, so just great. All right, for tonight, I'm going to have Stu there, Stu McCann and Alex Booth. I'm going to be actually in the studio anchoring, but I'm going to be watching it on TV. It's going to be obviously a hard sellout. Have you checked the secondary market to see what the tickets are going for this game? I got to think that this is a tough ticket.
No, this is I don't want to go on the record and say I know how much right now if you looked on StubHub, but I remember a week or two ago someone was saying that it would cost close to $800 to get into the building.
Jeez.
I mean, I know a lot of people that really want to be here right now, and financially it just doesn't make any sense. And I'm very fortunate that I have a job that allows me to be there and take it in not just as a sports moment, but it is a moment in history. Again, this is Major League Baseball coming to one of the birthplaces of the game and a place that has so much history. And there's so many people in Birmingham that have always driven by Rickwood Field, and they haven't really understood the significance of the cultural impact that this ballpark has. So I just encourage anybody that lives in this area, if you have a moment, rather if it be next week, next month, or within the next year, if you have a chance to get over there, potentially tour it, take photographs of it. I mean, we joke back home that Fenway, is an old dump. Well, let me tell you, this place is pristine. And the fact that Major League Baseball has made the investment to upgrade it, putting the nets in, the video boards, putting some TVs in the concourse, and making it broadcastable. I don't know if that's a word, but I just invented it, where they can put it on Fox tonight. I mean, I'm like a kid on Christmas morning. I'm so excited to be in there, and I don't take it for granted that I get a chance to go cover it.
Yeah, they've had to kind of set up a whole compound over there, media compound, Fox and MLB network, right?
Yeah, it's all ready to go. You got Wi-Fi, and if you got Wi-Fi, you can do almost anything.
That's right.
So we were just speaking to Commissioner Manfred, and a lot of times the commissioners have a lot of duties that they have to go through, and they kind of have that glazed over look when they're speaking to the press. He looks excited. He looks energized. And I think he understands for a sport that needs all the coverage you can get, that this is the place to be, and that this is the epicenter of the sports universe for tonight. And Birmingham, Alabama, we're not necessarily up there with the New Yorks, the LAs, or the Chicagos, but at least for one night, it's going to be the sports hotbed, and there are going to be millions and millions of eyes on this one.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, I've already talked about this a little bit. I know Miles College is going to play their games there, but because of this effort by Major League Baseball and the Friends of Rickwood in the city of Birmingham, Rickwood Field now, even though it's the oldest ballpark in America, is totally refurbished. It's beautiful, as you said. It's ready to go. After this game tonight, I surely to goodness, in addition to Miles playing games, and I know that they're going to, have some youth games there, but I would like to think, Johnny, that, I'd love to see a Rickwood College Classic every year. Maybe UAB plays Alabama and Auburn plays Troy or Jacksonville State or something, or maybe even 3 games in a day. And what are the plans to use this facility going forward and to get, and I know you got beautiful regions just across town, but to get some usage out of Rickwood Field going forward?
Yeah, Gary, I don't think they would make this kind of investment in the ballpark for one weekend only. And, even if they did for one weekend only, it would be worth it because of the significant and the cultural and the historic impact. But I don't believe that they would go to the lengths that they have to use it for one weekend. I think that this is something that we're going to obviously get use of it of the community. It can be used for different events. Obviously, Mayor Woodfin was here today, and he's expressed his desire to be able to continue to use this ballpark and kind of use it as kind of the front porch of the city because of the historical nature of it. I look at Alabama and Auburn should play a game there. UAB should play Stanford. And then obviously with Miles College still playing their baseball games, I certainly think that Birmingham Southern, if obviously they were still a school. They play not even a mile down the road. That's a school that could have gotten some real use out of it. So I highly doubt that they're just going to say, hey, this is a 1 week thing and we're moving forward. No, I expect this ballpark to be used into the future. And if anyone gets a chance to go over there, I mean, our chief sports photo, Chris McCulley, has been shooting video all week of it. It looks gorgeous. And I think everyone's going to get a real chance to see it on a national stage tonight.
Yeah, I do too. All right, as far as the game is concerned, I think it's important to remember, and obviously these current players, they're aware of the history that they're making, but this is a ball game. I mean, this is a major league game, and these two teams, it's very unusual. Usually you go into a city, you're playing a 3-game series or 4-game series, or whatever. They're rolling in here, but both the Giants and the Cardinals are going to try to win a baseball game tonight, right?
And, Gary, what really stinks is that last night Nolan Arenado got hit on his hand, and it doesn't look like he's going to play.
Oh, no.
And arguably one of the best defensive third basemen of all time. He's got some great pop. That was, of all the names on these two rosters, I was telling Chris earlier last week, I was like, I can't wait to see Arenado play. And then he tells me this morning he got popped on the hand, and they're looking for a weekend return. He's still listed as day-to-day, so I don't want to go on here and say he's not playing, but he looks doubtful to go tonight, which is too bad because if you're a baseball fan, you want to watch Arenado play over there in the hot corner.
Yeah, you sure do. And wow. All right, Johnny. Well, listen. Before I let you go, changing topics just a little bit. I know, and we had the Cars, one of Boston's all-time great rock bands, lined up to play. Had you been available on time, we're going to play just what I needed. But I know you're celebrating the Celtics' latest championship, their first since 2008, and I know Boston fans were scared to death that the Lakers were going to go ahead. But now, tied at 17, the Celtics get their 18th World Championship, and it would appear, and you never take anything for granted, because Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum had to work hard to get to this point, but they're still in their primes. This roster, it looks like most of it is going to return. You get the title in 5 games over the Mavs, but I know as a Boston fan, you got to feel like we may be going on another one of those Celtics-type runs. The excitement for you as a fan, kind of coupled with what the future looks like, I guess Boston basketball, it's a pretty good place to be right now.
It certainly is, and Gary, this championship was certainly earned. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown kind of ahead of schedule early on. They've been criticized, and rightfully so at times, for the inability to finish, but people continued to forget just how young these two superstars were. I mean, Jason Tatum just turned 26 years old. And we were looking at this guy like he can't win the big one. Guys like Jordan, LeBron, it took all these guys until their late 20s, early 30s for the most part, until they finally got their championship. And I as a fan, I feel good for Jaylen Brown because he's been second fiddle to Jason Tatum since the day Tatum was drafted out of Duke. And for Jaylen Brown to win not only the Eastern Conference MVP, but the Finals MVP, and the way that he did it on the defensive end, picking Luka and saying, I'm turning this guy down. Obviously, you're not going to stop a talent like Doncic, but if you can limit him, you're going to win a championship. And the Celtics didn't win, Gary, because of their superstars. They won because they have the deepest 1 through 5 in all of basketball, and guys like Derek White and Drew Holiday. And there's nobody I feel better for than Al Horford finally getting the big one. So an earned championship, and as you said, as you look forward with, especially with the second apron coming in and the Celtics being able and having the ownership willing to go over the luxury tax and saying, hey, it's not about money for us, it's about rings. I think this could be the beginning of maybe a potential dynastic run. I don't say that lightly. I think that they are positioned, at least in the future, next year they should be right back where they were, and we'll see who comes out of the West this time, if it's a Denver or a Minnesota, but they are without question the class of the East, and I don't see them going anywhere anytime soon.
And J.D. Davison gets a ring, becoming the 4th former Crimson Tide. But, he came out after 1 year, so he's still very young. He has really, at times, flourished, especially in the developmental league. But what are the Celtics' plans for him? Do you see him, this being the season coming up, where he gets into the playing rotation?
I would hope so, Gary. Obviously, Peyton Pritchard is signed to a real cost-effective deal, so that's your backup point guard. But I think he's going to have to learn to play without the ball more. He's going to have to improve his shooting. Keep in mind, the main Red Claws, or whatever they are now, the main Celtics, the G League affiliate, they went all the way to the final of the G League. Mm-hmm. And he was putting up significant numbers, and he was one of their main scoring threats. So I think a lot of people look back at J.D. Davison's time at Alabama, and they're kind of underwhelmed with the performance. So the way I would look at it is, he was, 18 years old at the time? you expect an 18-year-old to be a finished product, and obviously under Brad Stevens and Joe Mazzulla and having an opportunity to be in the Celtics organization, this is a guy that has an exceptionally bright future, and I would expect him to be in the rotation next year. I don't expect him to get major minutes with guys like Holiday, White, Pritchard still under contract, but if not, a potential trade chip, because I think there are a lot of teams that this guy could start, or not start, but at least be a rotational or a legitimate piece in an NBA offense, especially on the offensive end. You've got to improve on the defensive end, but this is a guy who I 100% believe has a future in this league.
Yeah, exceptional athlete, as you said, can score the basketball. Certainly, there are some deficiencies in his game, but yeah, he's going to be a really good NBA player for somebody. Hey, great stuff, Johnny. Appreciate it, man.
Thanks, Gary.
Have fun at the game tonight. I really wish I could be there, but you know, just like you with Boston, Stu McCann is a huge San Francisco Giants fan. So there's
good on him.
Yeah, there's really no way I could ask him not to cover that game. So. All right,
Gary, I'm sorry for my tardiness. I'll tell Pujols you say hello tonight.
Well, that's what I told Justin. I thought it would be easy just to say, hey, Albert, hold on just a second. I got to do a radio interview with Gary Harris, and I'll get back to you. But he trumped me.
Goes from kill to clean in seconds. Plus, it's safe for use around people and pets when used as directed. Zevo, people-friendly, bug-deadly.
Los Tarascos has been serving Mexican favorites like burritos, fajitas, and quesadillas since 1999. Their new location is at 4100 Owen Parkway in Northport. And, of course, you can find Los Tarascos in Tuscaloosa at 110 Skyland Boulevard. The bar areas feature big screen television so you can enjoy your favorite sporting events. Los Tarascos features daily happy hour specials. And for the best Mexican cuisine in West Alabama, remember, the name is Los Tarascos with locations in Tuscaloosa and Northport.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Well, today's the first day of summer. The solstice occurs at 3:50 p.m. this afternoon. More sunshine today, still dry, a little hotter. The afternoon high near 93. Tonight, partly cloudy skies, the overnight low near 70. And for your Friday, partly cloudy. It'll be heating up, but still dry. Humidity levels will be rising. Look for a high of 94.
I'm meteorologist Bill Murray on Tide 100.9.
It's 87 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
The best place for your high school football coverage is right here on Tide 100.9 and online on Tide100.9.com.
All right, 10:56, and a fun show today. A little bit of a different show with just one guest, Johnny Cognan, but Johnny jumped on with us and really had some great info on the all the stuff going on with the tribute to the Negro Leagues, Rickwood Classic, the Major League game tonight, and glad he could be with us and had some good phone calls, had some good discussion of Bama football. And, of course, tomorrow it's the TGIF edition, so you know what that means. And I don't mind going ahead and saying this. We'll talk about it tomorrow. But Justin is moving on to another opportunity, as we like to say in the broadcasting business. So tomorrow will be your final show. Certainly going to miss you. It's going to leave a void, but that's the nature of this business. You're looking to move on up, and so we'll have fun tomorrow for sure.
Yeah, that just means we're going to have an extra excitement-filled Friday.
Yeah, it's going to be a little extra juice for Justin's final show, so make sure and tune us in tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. All right, that's going to wrap it up. Catch me on your local sports tonight. We'll have a live report at 5 p.m. from Rickwood Field with Stu McCann and Alex Booth. Can't wait for that. And, of course, as I said, back here tomorrow morning for the TGIF edition of the Gary Harris Show. Today's the longest day of the year. Enjoy it. Talk to you in the morning.
Thank you for listening to the